Welcome, Impactful Parents. It's time for the Impactful Parenting Podcast, where I give you parenting tips and resources to make you a more impactful parent to your school-age child. I am your host, Kristina Campos. Do you ever wonder what your teen isn't telling you, especially around the subject of intimacy and exploration? Well, that is what we will be talking about today on the Impactful Parenting Podcast. We're going to be talking about sexual behaviors and how parents can be proactive to help their children. Hello, my name is Kristina Campos, and I'm founder of the Impactful Parent, and I help parents of school-age children who want to be one step ahead of their kids to turn their chaos into connection with their adolescent. I'm a mom of four, a teacher that's taught every grade from preschool through high school, and today I help moms and dads like yourself to navigate that exhausting, confusing, frustrating, but rewarding world of parenting. So welcome to the Impactful Parent. And today's special guest is Jenny Coleman. Jenny is a clinician, an educator, and an advocate in child welfare. She's the director of a national prevention program called Stop It Now. And she's also the director of a nationally recognized free teen helpline called What's Okay, to give youth and teens a confidential, judgment-free space to ask questions about sexual behaviors, consent, boundaries, and healthy relationships. It all empowers young people to recognize concerning situations early and to access credible information and guidance. So today I invited Jenny onto the Impactful Parent stage to discuss what our teens aren't telling us about their curiosities and concerns, especially around. So this is an important episode. If you have an adolescent, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to the stage, Jenny. Jenny, what was the gap in teen resources that led to the creation of What's Okay? And how does that even all work?
Well, Stop It Now, as you mentioned, is a prevention program. We focus on really envisioning a world where kids and teenagers grow up safe from any sexual harm. And Stop It Now has a Stop It Now helpline for adults, also free and confidential, who have questions about keeping kids safe, their own experiences, and just in general prevention across their community. We were seeing some inquiries come in from youth, and our own research and expertise really told us youth have questions not always about developmentally normal, healthy relationships, but concerns about what they're thinking or feeling or even behaving that felt more concerning to them, that made them wonder if, are they okay? Are they, someone with problems, and what kind of support was out there? So we opened What's Okay.
And so what's the number one question or maybe theme that teens are currently submitting to the helpline? Are these questions coming from a place of how to or a place of, is this normal?
More from, is it normal? Absolutely. And it's hard to pinpoint the number one, but I certainly would say their experience in the digital world. Is it okay that I'm viewing what I'm viewing, that I'm feeling what I'm feeling? How do I make sense of what I'm seeing online?
Oh, we're going to get into some of those questions in just a minute. So I'm glad that they're asking that. And parents often worry about what's happening in the bedroom. So what does your data say about that digital bedroom? How much of teen curiosity today is being driven by what they see on that social media or their group chats?
Oh, absolutely. I was just thinking that this morning about how the exposure that youth have from all their media sources is absolutely influencing them in what they want to explore, how they're feeling. Seeing a disturbing image is prompting them to reach out for help with a mix of feelings, recognizing how disturbing the image is, but also dealing with feelings of curiosity about it.
And I feel like that's so normal. I got for teens, and they don't know. They seems like with so many things coming in, and they're just inundated with all this information and all these visuals anymore. Not like the teens of the past. Definitely not like how we grew up. it's just so overwhelming that how can they even tell what's normal anymore? So my empathy goes out to this new generation, and I'm glad they have this resource now that they can ask that with you. My goal for right now is to educate parents on the difference between that healthy exploration that the teens are doing and then this red flag that they need to be looking out for. So if a parent's listening who just found a strange search history or maybe a text thread, how do you define normal adolescent sexual development versus concerning behavior?
Sometimes the line is pretty gray, absolutely, because certainly curiosity and exploring is normal. We would expect that. And you're right, while we see images and information that weren't really available when maybe we were kids, once somebody has that kind of concept or image in their brain, it's natural to explore it. The warning signs really are how much time, how deep are they going? Is it a child, a youth sacrificing relationships and homework and other activities because they are just being pulled into this curiosity? If they're hiding their search history, and certainly if they're going to sites that are for adults that are not for 18 and under. I mean, that's, even kids, when in our day, I feel like I'm going to really date myself, opened a Playboy magazine to see what adults were looking at. But it does take a few more steps, and youth certainly know how to take those steps to go deeper into sites online to get more images. And that's part of what we see. Once they see one thing, they want to know what the next thing is.
Oh, yes. I mean, just again, so normal of them. My empathy again goes so out to them. I can't even imagine living in today's age. It's unfathomable, really.
Yeah,
And we
it really
can't
is.
talk about teen curiosity without mentioning easy access to adult content, like you were mentioning. So, what are teens asking your counselors about?
Well, they certainly are discovering just legal adult illegal to them, and so they're asking if it's okay if they watch that. Beyond that, they are also asking about different specific behaviors that they see online between adults, what they're seeing in adult pornography, about fetish behaviors. I'm sorry, I've been doing this work for over 30 years, and I'm kind of blown away myself at the depth and just expansiveness of their questions. They're asking about age gaps between themselves, maybe a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. They're asking about sexualized feelings related to sexualized anime. And what is that about? Is that okay? Is there something wrong with them? And they are talking about finding child sexual abuse images, maybe innocently enough, just searching how do teenagers have sex, and are actually being served up illegal imagery. And now they're concerned about how to respond to that. Should they report it? We're also seeing a lot of responsibility. Kids really wanting to be accountable, who've already crossed lines and now want to know what to do about that, how to make amends.
Wow. I mean, they're so smart. They're so smart.
They really are. I am amazed at how much information they already come to us with, that they're researching their questions. They may come up with, I am diagnosed with pedophilic obsessive compulsive disorder. We don't know that, but we know that they're concerned enough about their behaviors that they're looking for explanations, and they want to know, is there hope available to me if I am thinking these things that feel unspeakable? Who can I talk to about that?
So grateful for your platform for this. It's so needed.
Thank
And
you.
I want to dive into a little bit about gender and identity with this new generation. It is, again, completely shifted, not anything like it used to be in the past. So, is there a shift in the data regarding how teens are asking about sexual orientation and gender identity?
We're not seeing that kind of line of questions or concerns as much, just because that's not the focus of what we do. It will come up occasionally as kids, as they self-identify as non-binary, or trans, whatever language they use. And unless they are saying, this is a problem in my life, more often they're asking questions about the relationships in their life that could already have problems, power differentials, requests to engage in, unhealthy behaviors, harmful behaviors. But we're not seeing them come to us with those questions about their own gender or sexual identity, other than, I was abused, will this make me gay?
Mm.
And the research is no on that. We certainly know that there are lots of people who have been sexually abused who do not change their sexual orientation, that it's not impacted by abuse. It may impact choices you make with your sexual behavior, certainly, but it doesn't affect your overall sexual orientation.
Is there anything that you see that these adolescents wish their parents understood about how kids are labeling themselves?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it mostly is to recognize that labels are exactly that they describe a behavior. They're not the whole of what somebody, not even who somebody is. So just because somebody is interested in a particular kind of relationship or even sexual behavior does not make them all of what that behavior is. When we start labeling anybody, then we stop seeing all of who they are and both the gifts they bring and the other areas of support they may need. We just see them as a problem usually. So I think that would be the number one thing, but I hate to speak for youth. So that's my impression of what would be most helpful for them.
Before we get to the prevention of a lot of what we're going to be talking about, is there anything else you would like to tell the audience about the data, about what you're hearing, about what you're seeing, about the questions that these teens are asking?
I think just mostly to re-emphasize how much teens want to do the right thing, because I think we forget that sometimes, because you're right, they are so much media, so much input of data, of terminology, images, but underneath it, they want to be healthy, happy, successful, have a joyful life, right? And they really want to make the right choices about their relationships, but they don't want to feel shame either, because shame drives them underground and they're not always sure where they can get help. And that's one of the biggest barriers, is just not knowing, is there anyone I can talk to about what I'm thinking or feeling sexually?
All right, let's get to the prevention pivot. Your helpline is unique because it also supports youth who are worried about their own thoughts and behaviors. So, how can a parent spot the signs that their child's curiosity might be crossing into harmful sexual behavior?
And great question. You are looking for behaviors with youth that aren't responding to instruction and redirection. So if a youth is continually breaking rules, and I mean even rules that are related to privacy and respect, continuing to walk in the bathroom door when their sibling is in there without knocking and waiting for an answer, right? And we know kids are forgetful, but when you see patterns of behaviors like that that cross boundaries, you want to pay attention. Um, Also, when we're looking for, notice I'm going to use the word patterns and looking for repeating behaviors, because any single behavior, I don't want anyone in your audience to go, oh my gosh, I think my child could be someone who's hurting a child. No, we're looking for patterns and, again, repeating clusters of behaviors, but also kids who have problems reading social skills, who really don't understand when someone's kind of trying to back out of a conversation, or reading kind of whether they're amused by their humor or whether they're a little turned off by their behavior. They're not great at reading facial skills as well. Those are two really good markers to pay attention to. But I certainly would look for kids just in general that feel isolated, seem to lack a strong peer support, really seem kind of floundering. And that doesn't mean that they're then prone to harm another child, another youth sexually, but they may struggle with boundaries, and they may try very hard to engage with folks in ways that could end up being harmful, because they're literally desperate to figure out how to make connection.
When teens reach out to you about experiencing abuse or pressure,
Mm.
What is the biggest barrier keeping them from telling their parents?
Oh, I don't know again if there's a single one, because for kids, things feel so complicated. I'm going to get blamed, and the shame certainly is one of the top reasons that, of course, no child or adult deserves and is at fault for any violence that besets them. For youth, it's very hard for them to feel that, oh, this wasn't my fault. This wasn't okay. They may really kind of overanalyze it. I gave the wrong message. I just wanted to be liked. So that may be the number one barrier, is feeling that they are responsible, and the shame and the guilt, and that others will see them like that come along with that. Also, is that nobody is available to talk to. There's nobody that they feel safe with. They're not sure if it's going to be, oh, am I going to wreck my mom or dad's life by telling them this? They want the people who care for them to be able to manage really hard, just horrific news like this. And if they can't, they're going to shy away from that as well. They also may want to protect the person. It can be a very mixed bag of feelings. They may truly have feelings, deep feelings, for the person that harmed them. They want the abuse to stop. They want the harm to stop, but they still have a relationship with that person. So it's even more confusing to them.
That actually is a great segue to a question I wanted to ask about the predator versus the peer myth, which is there's a common fear of the internet stranger being the person that parents need to prevent from doing harm to their child. But my instinct and just experience in this field says the data is showing differently, that harm is more likely to come from peers or people that the teen already knows. Can you speak to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Your instinct is spot on. I mean, in general, child sex abuse, and I'm going to include peer to peer. So when a child is sexually harmed in reported cases, over 90% of the time, it is someone known to that youth or the family. Then we start to account for peer to peer. And we know that, again, in reported cases, over 3/4 of cases are peer to peer, where the peer is known. And the digital environment, I feel like we shifted our stranger danger conversation to real life as we started to realize, no, these are people in our life, but we've shifted that conversation to online conversations. But for youth, those are relationships. So if you ask a youth or say to a youth, you don't know the other person on the other end of that chat, they do. In their mind, this is a friend of them. They have built a relationship with them. They trust them. They've shared very intimate things. So the whole landscape has changed, and that language, in terms of using it to protect children, is ineffective, because what we need to talk to youth about are the people you know in your life that are crossing boundaries, that make you uncomfortable. How do you handle that? That are asking you to do things that go past your family safety plan, against your program's rules, against your own moral compass. How do you respond to that?
This is really tough for parents because you never expect somebody that is close is going to do something like this. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, but one of my most popular episodes on my YouTube channel is sibling sexual abuse. And it's amazing to me how once I put out that episode, the amount of people who resonated with it. I never would have thought that when I had first had dived into that topic and had a woman come on and share her experience. I just don't shy away from all topics concerning parenting. And so I was happy to have her on. Never did I imagine that so many people would resonate with it and talk about that. And I think it's a subject, especially with another sibling, that parents just can't even fathom. And in your realm of work, I just would like to bring that up again and say, since I do know it is a very unspoken, popular topic,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to a parent who might be a little concerned, or is there any red flags that you can speak of around this particular topic that could help parents?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought it up. And there are some amazing resources. Incest Aware is one that comes to mind, 5 Ways for Sibling Incest. And just real quickly back to what teens are asking, one of the questions we're hearing teens ask is, I did this with my younger sibling, or my older sibling did this, and they're reflecting on that. So yes, we are hearing those. Very much like the same warning signs in a child experiencing child sexual abuse, we would look for the same signs in children that may be involved, and youth may be involved in some sort of youth to youth, sibling to sibling abuse. So again, the warning signs that there's a change in their routine, in their emotional disposition, in their engagement with others and how they're doing, new fears, new anxieties. But we're also looking for power dynamics within siblings. Never assume that just because one youth is older or younger, there may be cognitive differences or physical differences. But if it seems like one youth is always taking the lead, I would look for a sibling that's constantly looking to be alone. I will babysit, I'll watch the child. I'm just going to take my younger brother or sister into the bedroom and play and shut the door. So safety rules, like in this house, if you're in someone else's room, the door is open, can be really helpful. Not to have folks like live in fear or have this, kind of icy feel in the house where everyone's suspicious, but just because anything can happen. It's just a great way to prevent accidents when folks leave doors open so that people can be available quickly to help and keep an eye on things. So setting those tones early are really important too. But yeah, we're just looking for, that's a lot of warning signs I gave you. I don't want to overwhelm any of you, but anytime a parent has a question, they should always ask another question.
Yeah, but we can't get enough warning signs, so no worries. And they do cross over subjects too. That's a good just rule to have, whether you're suspecting this or not. That's a good rule to have in anyone's household. So I do appreciate that. I want to give listeners tangible take action steps for after this episode. So let's talk a little bit about safety infrastructure, like you were just mentioning. It's a great segue. So beyond the talk, what practical boundaries should parents be setting for school-age children today?
Well, looking at physical boundaries is kind of a nice, safe way to start, as I just said, about knocking on doors and, where other people are allowed in houses or other places. And I will also say any rules you have in the family, you want to remember to transfer those rules. So whenever a youth is on the road, on overnight, a camping trip, with a team, a reminder that anytime you're away or someone is in our house, these are the same rules for all of us to stay safe. We have rules about the kind of dress, that we don't come out of our bedrooms without being dressed. And what does that mean in your house can be defined by your own culture and values, of course, but we don't just walk out naked. That private body parts are for medical reasons with permission, and that you feel comfortable, you've given consent. I'm thinking youth who are old enough to give consent and know that a doctor is looking to examine them, that we don't ask other people to show their naked body parts to them. This is for younger children, but I hope folks have also taken setting the standard of using an anatomically correct language. And just in general, even if they're a shy adult and talking about sex and bodies and relationships, and they can let their child know that, continuing to talk about them really is a safety part of a safety plan. We want children and youth and teenagers to know that adults in their lives, maybe they're a little shy about it, but they're willing to show up for the conversation, help them get the answers without shaming them or in any other way kind of dismissing their questions. We talk about consent and permission and what consent can look like, that it's not just yes or no, paying attention to body signals. When somebody says, well, maybe, what does that mean? Does that mean a yes or a no? At this moment, it still means no. That's not a clear yes. So talking with kids about how consent and permission can look in person when it feels a little iffy can be really helpful as well.
So tell us more about what's okay, because if people are listening to this episode and they're resonating, this is where we want them to go. We want them to discover it. So tell us more about what's okay. How do we find it? How do we encourage our kids to get there?
Absolutely. What's okay has been, we're in our 6th year. We're a national helpline and the website as well that provides information for youth, primarily 14 to 22-year-olds, but we hear from all ages, asking those kind of left of center questions. We're prepared for healthy, normative sexual development and relationship questions, but mostly is geared towards youth who are wondering about what are the boundaries? As I said, did I cross them already? What do I do now? What is safe to engage in? Questions about what they've done in the past, sometimes some really severe illegal, harmful behaviors, to just kind of, again, just bordering on normative behaviors. Is masturbating 13 times a day too much type of questions. Our goal is that, first of all, anyone feels just courageous that they called, like, thank you, appreciative, like you did the right thing. It's important that anybody who reaches out to help is kind of met with a warm welcome. And then we help them think through resources, share accurate information, help them think about who they could turn to next, what safe adults are in their life, how to ask for help, and certainly identify when there's some real risks and also harmful behaviors, and recommend some strong steps and to support them in taking those steps.
Is it a hotline? Did you have a number that you can share, or is the number change, or is it a website?
I would recommend going to What's Okay, WHATSOK.org. You can access the helpline. We call it a helpline because we're not 24/7. And it's not really crisis based, although certainly we're prepared to speak with folks who are in crisis mode. But through that website, you can access chat, text, email, and you can also call, this is awful, 188-PREVENT will get you to the Stop It Now helpline. And that will get you to either one of our helplines or websites. Anybody can direct you. We are in the process of updating one of our chat portals, and I just realized some of the numbers must have changed. So visiting our website is absolutely the best way. And I still recommend that parents listening today visit stopitnow.org, because that's full of the warning sheets for how to look for warning signs for youth who are at risk to harm, who have warning signs of abuse in their life, safety planning tip sheets, talking to other adults about safety planning. So there's lots of resources on Stop It Now, including our training series as well, which I'm supposed to mention because we're very excited about our new online training hub. Circles of Safety is our training series, and anybody listening to your podcast using the code IMPACT will get 50% off the whole foundational training bundle. So we just want to make sure folks have resources. Website's free, helplines are free, trainings are available, some at reduced cost, and we're here for anyone who wants to talk over their concerns and their safety planning needs.
Love it. Parents, I hope you take advantage of this. This is a great resource, as so many of the resources here on The Impactful Parent. This is no exception. Wow. Like, I'm super excited that we have this, one for parents and for our adolescents. This is really, really, really great. Jenny, I always end the episode with an impactful parent question. Basically what it is depending on our topic today, I ask a question that hopefully leads to you answering, how can we better be an impactful parent with this topic? So my question to you today is, if a parent realizes that they've been out of the loop, what's the best script, I guess, or way to open a non-judgmental conversation tonight without making it feel like an interrogation?
I do really think the line of, I just heard something on the news today, or saw something, or heard this podcast, and it just made me wonder about your online life. Like, I see that you're very engaged, and I'm wondering about what you do there, who your friends are, like, what are the games? Would you be willing to show me? So it may not be at all about sexual safety. It may be, how can I learn more about where my kid is spending their time? And then be curious, ask more questions, ask them, show me, why does that guy always push everybody out of his way? Have you been playing with him a long time? use the game. And I don't mean to just focus on video games, but find whatever it is that your child loves and use that. If they're taking, ballet lessons, what do you love about that? I think we always, how's your day? But what do you love about that? Is there anything you wish you could change? Start getting a sense of their relationships and where they feel that they have control, and what they enjoy doing and where they're not enjoying where they are, and then start getting curious.
Thank you for being here today, parents. Remember, you got this. I'm just here to help. Thank you for listening today. Remember to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. And don't forget, the Impactful Parenting Podcast is an extension of the Impactful Parent community. Go to the Impactful Parent website and download the free Impactful Parent app so you don't miss a parenting tip that can help you and your family. Thanks for listening today. So go to theimpactfulparent.com and see you next episode.